The following is a Thorpe TV production brought to you in cooperation with Jack Thorpenson. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the SOCS Show, brought to you live from Mr. Holster's ranch way up north near the Canadian border. Let's have a big, rousing round of applause for that YouTube old guy gun guy. Here he comes, direct from the bar, Mr. Holster! You're so right, Jack. That guy is old. He's long-winded, too. You should really put that in there, too. Matter of fact, he's... Oh, Mr. Holster, that's me, Jack. Hey, howdy, Barge. Yeah, it's me. Mr. Holster. I'm tired, so I'm going to sit behind the bar today. What'd you get us today, Jack? Oh, gosh, Jack, you got out some Michter straight rye whiskey. Oh. Thank you, Jack. Barrel number 168174. It's been a long time since I saw this. 42.4% alcohol by volume. That's 84.8 proof. Glad they do that for me. My math wasn't very good as a kid. Let's pop the top on this one, as Machine Gun Kelly would say. Oh, and a real cork. Oh. There's some good rye whiskey, guys. Take a little whiff of that. Oh, yeah. Have we got a show? He's putting it back in. Yeah. Have we got a show tonight, guys? We're going to look at the Mossberg 590A1 and compare it to the new Mossberg Shockwave. Yeah. So let's get this show on the road. I tell you, Jack and I, well, let's get it on the road first. That was for Machine Gun Kelly. We did it twice there. Yeah. Let's take the old ranch shot glass. There you go. And pour ourselves a little shot. All things in moderation. West Texas dust. Oh. That looks good, Jack. Thank you, sir. It's been a long, hard day. Working hard on the shooting range. And I'll admit, Jack has gotten to me with his big, lavish productions. My shooting range has turned into nothing's good enough for my shooting range. Yeah, I've redesigned it like 5 times, and each time my wife shakes her head and goes, "How much is this going to cost?" This is my life's quest and goal. How can you even say something like that? So here we go to the sunny slopes of long ago. Jack. I'm almost ashamed to have drank it that fast, but we're running out of time. Oh, that's so good, Jack. Savor it for a moment here. The heavy-barreled 590 A1 12-gauge shotgun. This one's configured with the ghost ring sight and just a fantastic, bright, fluorescent orange front sight. We'll get it up close here, personal, so you can see the sights. You've got a ghost ring rear, and you can see that. Get it on something over here, maybe. Maybe you can see that. I don't know if you can see it, but I can't. That's what happens when you start. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I hope you can see that now. Well, look at the sights. 12 gauge holds 6 rounds in the tube. This one has some aftermarket stocks on it that happen to be Hogue. They're the nylon, fiberglass, rubber overmolded stocks with the pebble finish. They're really sticky. It's got the same thing on the rear, on the pistol grip, and then just no rubber overmolding on the rear part of the stock. This is a shorter stock. It's a little over 12 inches, which works great. My perfect length of pull for me on this gun is a little over 13 inches. And without this Pacmar decelerator pad on it, you're coming out to about an inch short of my perfect length of pull for a fighting shotgun. In the wintertime, because I live way up north near the Canadian border, in the wintertime I've got so much clothing on that even compressed, it's a good inch of clothing. So in the wintertime, this stock is perfect. And this gun really gets used an awful lot more in the winter than it does around here in the summertime. Truth be known. But in the summertime, I put this deaccelerator pad on it, which gives me an inch more stock to it, and there you are at the length of pull that I like. At a little over 13 inches. That's how it works. It works for me that way, so that's why I do that. I've gone through gun sight on this gun a couple times, and back in the day, you'd take a real ribbing if you had a Mossberg. You know, everybody had the 870 Remington, and of course that was better because it had a steel frame, where the Mossberg has an aluminum frame. Well, the bolt and barrel lockups all steel, and of course aluminum frames. I could say the same thing about the 1911s. A lightweight 1911 is no good because it's got an aluminum frame versus a 1911 that's steel framed. And we all know that there's plenty of frames out there that aren't steel that work, like clocks. So I say that's a non-issue nowadays. I like the Mossberg 500, or in this case a 590A1, because it's got the ambidextrous safety on the top, the thumb safety, as I call it, which can be used whether you're shooting it right-handed or left-handed. The safety's right there for your thumb to use, and that's the main selling feature to me. I've never had any problems with my 590A1, just a great little shotgun. Of course, it's a little heavier because if you look at it, it's the heavy barrel. And the average person in home defense, and maybe as Mr. Holster ages, he might want to go with the regular barrel on a 590. 590 with a thin barrel, because it takes shaves a lot of weight off the gun. But on the other hand, this thing shoots like a pussycat because it's so heavy. And of course, in a home defense situation, it's awful nice to have a stock on a gun, because it gives you a little extra control. And if you'll see where the gun is, I want you to take notice of that, versus the new Shockwave, which is not a shotgun, by the way, it's a firearm, which has a little pistol grip on the back, and this forend, you're not going to be changing either the pistol grip or the forend, unless they come out with aftermarket versions of the same thing that are different, like rubberized, and so you're stuck with the forend because you really need this little band of fabric here that holds your hand in, so you don't accidentally let it slip in front of the barrel. That's what keeps you from blowing your fingers or your hand off there. You're kind of stuck with that. And the rear end, because it's a firearm, it needs to stay this type of grip on it. As in, I would say the identical grip. I wouldn't want to be the test case for anything here. This is something new and we haven't seen where it's gone yet. Of course, you've got a 14-inch barrel, a shorter barrel than that, so it's a little more maneuverable, easier to use in situations like Mr. Holster uses it in his Bobcat, his tractor. I even use it on the golf cart. I got a little scabbard on the golf cart it fits into. Places where the longer gun may be a little more inconvenient and more difficult to use. If you've got a small truck, not a real truck, a full-size truck, you may want to use this as a truck gun versus using this full-size shotgun. Now me, I have no problem using this in my truck. I got a rack for it in my truck. There's no incentive for me to be taking this gun instead. It's a little more maneuverable inside the vehicle, I'll grant you. But I think you lose a lot going to this, and the real thing you're losing is when you want to shoot it using your sights, this is what you got to do, because you got to keep it away from your face so you don't lose your teeth. By the time you do that, Mr. Holster says you might as well have a stock. You see what I'm saying? And the end of the barrel probably isn't in much different position than that one is when I'm holding it way out. So I say this has an awful lot of advantages in the actual use. And of course here on the Shockwave, you can see your sight picture, that little bead on the front. Of course, if you're an old hunter, do a lot of pheasant hunting, you're used to using that little bead sight. Myself, I kind of like the bigger sight, especially at my age. The big ghost ring sight works awful nice compared to this bead sight. But yeah, the bead sight will get the job done. And with practice, you can do this. But to me, this gun is, again, a gun of convenience in certain areas. Like in the Bobcat, it's awful nice to have a shotgun when you're out there in the Bobcat, way up north near the Canadian border. But it's not really two-legged predators I'm worried about and going to use it on. So it's a different story. And of course, I'm also in an area that I doubt whatever I put in this is going to get off the property, no matter how I shoot it. and most people, you know, live in a situation like that. You got to be worried about shot placement and where it goes, and your sight picture more than Mr. Holster does. So I can take a wild shot at that rabid coyote that's coming at me, and if I don't get it the first time, I'll get it the second, third, or fourth time. I've got 6 shots to work with 5 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. But in home defense situation, I'm not picking this up. I'm picking this up because I've got a stock there. I can control this better than I can control that. I can rest it on my shoulder. It's harder for somebody to take away from me. A lot of advantages to this. And when you get down to it and looking at the sights, the barrel's not that much further away from me than the other one is when I'm holding it out like that. See where I'm going with this? And of course, everybody's got their own decisions in life and their own opinions, and that's fine. I just find that if I got the 2 sitting right on the table here and I need to defend myself, this one with the extra shot and the stock in the back and the nice sights is going to be my first pick. Now, I'm not saying there aren't times you have to compromise in life and this makes a better choice for the situation, but most times it's pretty much this for me. So there you go. I just thought we'd talk a little bit about the 2 guns and show them side by side and show the differences and the advantages to one over the other. Since I had somebody telling me that my video of me shooting it from the hip was Hollywood. And you know, one of the reasons I bought this was to shoot at the hip at the shooting range for fun. That's pretty much the only reason I bought this. It's just, to me, a fun gun. It does come in handy in the Bobcat. I will say that, but I already had this, so as for using it for a defensive situation, no, I'd be using this, says Mr. Holster. And just kind of an answer to his saying I should be ashamed of myself for shooting that like from the hip, but it's a Hollywood gun. Well, because I was having fun at the shooting range. There you go. That's what I bought it for. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. That's a shock show for tonight from Mr. Holster and Jack there. We want to invite you to subscribe to our channel and get in on our contest. And this is how you get in on the contest tonight to get your name in there. You can get it in once. You can get it in as many times as you see videos. When your opportunity arises tonight, right now, I'm giving you that opportunity. All you got to do to get my contest is, number 1, be a subscriber. Number 2, like this video. And number 3, in the comment section down below, just tell me what you're thinking and tag it with Shockwave. Well, there you go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like our channel, Jack and I, please subscribe. Till next time, go out and stay safe.